Hello, today I'm looking at the Majjhima number 26, which has got two titles to it. One is Ariyapariyesana Sutta, or the Noble Search, and the alternative title is Pasirasi Sutta, the Heap of Snares. Now I think it's described that way because it's almost like two suttas rolled into one. The first part of the sutta is deals with Buddha's odyssey to reach enlightenment, and the second part of the sutta is an allegory about deer and temptation and such like. So the first of all, it's got a long preamble about Buddha meeting up with his followers, and after arms round, meditating and bathing, and when meeting up, Buddha makes the point that when assembled, the bhikkhus should do either of two things: either hold discussion on the Dhamma or maintain noble silence. Buddha then continues, there are two kinds of search, a noble search and an ignoble search. And he first describes the ignoble search, the search for the like-minded, those also subject to birth, aging, sickness, death, sorrow and defilements. He then describes the noble search, being subject to birth and having understood the danger in what is subject to birth. He seeks the unborn supreme security from its bondage, that is nibbana. This statement is then repeated for aging, sickness, death, sorrow and defilement. This is the noble search. Buddha then describes his own experience, basically asking himself the question, when unenlightened that is, why, being myself, subject to birth, do I seek what is also subject to birth, aging, sickness and so on? But suppose, he continues, I try to find nibbana, which is why, despite his parents' disapproval, he went from the home life to homelessness. Now, just as an aside, I find that comment that, such as in the Bodhi translation, it does say despite his parents' approval, and my understanding was that his mother died around childbirth, Maya, and he was actually brought up by his mother's sister, Mahapajapati. But to say, the Bodhi translation of the Pali Canon, the term is mother and father is used. In the Thanissaro translation, the word parents is used, and in the Pali Text Society's Pali version, the word uses mata pitu, which is translated as parents or mother and father. So just a point to ponder there. Anyway, he continues, having started his search, Buddha went to a person called Alara Kalama to learn his Dhamma or doctrine. And Alama Kalama claims that his Dhamma is such that a wise person can soon enter upon and abide in it. And so Buddha quickly learnt the doctrine. Upon being asked, Kalama states that he enters upon and abides upon in this Dhamma by way of the base of nothingness. That is one of the four higher jhana or meditative states. Buddha realizes Gautama's state of faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration and wisdom through direct knowledge. So realizing means experiencing. So the self-experience. As Buddha shares the same Dhamma as Kalama, Kalama asks the Buddha to become co-leader of their community. But Buddha realized that Kalama's Dhamma does not lead to disenchantment, dispassion, cessation, peace, enlightenment or nibbana. It only leads to reappearance in the base of nothingness, one of the jhana states. So Buddha leaves this community. The Buddha then went to Uddaka Ramaputta and takes up Ramaputta's Dhamma. Uddaka Ramaputta is asked by Buddha about the foundation of his Dhamma. Ramaputta declares his Dhamma comes from the base of neither perception nor non-perception. It's the deepest of the four immaterial jhanas, realised through direct knowledge. Again, Buddha is asked to co-lead the community once he's mastered this Dhamma. But again, although honoured by the invitation, Buddha declines for the same reasons as before, that the Dhamma only ends up in one of the jhanas, one of the jhanic states, the base of neither perception nor non-perception. That is, Buddha does not see entry into the jhanas as being an end in itself. Buddha then moved on to striving on his own in a place called Usavela, and it's here that Buddha realises Nibbana. To quote, "My deliverance is unshakable, this is my last birth, now there is no renewal of being." Progressively, Buddha attained unborn supreme security from bondage to Nibbana, unaging security from bondage, unailing security from bondage, deathless security from bondage, sorrowless security from bondage, and undefiled security from bondage to Nibbana. Buddha then considers the Dhamma is profound, hard to see and understand, peaceful and sublime, unattainable by mere reasoning, subtle to be experienced by the wise. But, he continues, this generation delights in attachment, delights in it and rejoices in it. It is hard for this generation to see this truth, namely specific conditionality, dependent origination, that cause and effect. I found this quite interesting about an older person deriding the younger generation for its frivolousness, if you like, so it's not a new thing. And he goes on to say, the stilling of all formations, the relinquishing of all acquisitions, the destruction of craving, dispassion, cessation, and therefore Nibbana. So, yeah, Buddha's a bit worried that this won't be picked up. So, Buddha's dilemma is stated thus: if I were to teach the Dhamma, others would not understand me, and that would be wearying and troublesome for me. And then Buddha recites the following verses: enough with teaching the Dhamma, that even I have found hard to reach, for it will never be perceived by those who live in lust and hate. Those died in lust and hate, in lust wrapped in darkness, will never discern the abstruse Dhamma, which goes against the worldly stream, subtle, deep and difficult to see. So there's the problem. So Buddha considers not teaching the Dhamma, but the Brahma Sampati appears before Buddha. Now Sampati is considered one of the senior Mahabrahmas, the great Brahma, and Sampati exhorts Buddha to teach the Dhamma. There will be those who understand, and Buddha accedes to Brahma Sampati's wishes. But where to start? His first thought was to teach those who had helped him. Alara Katama, but he had recently died. Then he thought maybe Uddaka Ramaputta, but he too had died. So Buddha's thought turned to teaching the group of 5 bhikkhus who helped him in his striving. These 5 he found living in the deer park at Isipatana in Benares. On his way to Benares, Buddha met Ajivaka Upaka, to whom Buddha explained his mission. Ajivaka Upaka wished him well. On reaching the deer park, Buddha perceives it is the intention of the 5 bhikkhus to shun him, because Buddha had given up his striving and reverted to luxury. But the bhikkhus were unable to keep their pact and welcomed him, addressing him as friend. Buddha corrects them. He is now a fully enlightened one. The deathless has been attained. And he continues, I shall teach you the Dhamma. The 5 bhikkhus are dubious. If he has given up his striving and reverted to luxury, how will he have achieved any superhuman states? Buddha replies, he has neither given up his striving nor reverted to luxury. The question is posed to Buddha 3 more times, and Buddha repeats the same answer, offering to instruct them in the Dhamma. Eventually the bhikkhus agree, and Buddha describes how he teaches them as a group between sharing duties of the alms round. So, taught and instructed about birth, aging, ailing, death, sorrow and defilement, their direct knowledge arose, and the 5 bhikkhus, their deliverance unshakable. This is their last birth, there is no renewal of being. Buddha then goes on to talk about the 5 causes of sensual pleasure. Forms cognisable by the eye that are wished for, agreeable and likeable, connected with sensual desire and provocative of lust. Sounds cognisable by the ear, so on and so forth. Odours cognisable by the nose. Flavours cognisable by the tongue, and touch cognisable by the body. All that are wished for, agreeable and likeable, connected with sensual desire and provocative of lust. Any recluse or Brahmin who's tied to those 5 sense pleasures is at the mercy of the evil one. Buddha alludes to a bound deer who's lying in a heap of snares. So caught, the hunter can do with the deer as he likes. As to those recluses and Brahmins who see the danger of the 5 causes of pleasure and escape from them, then they are not at the mercy of the evil one. He cannot do as he likes. So too, a deer who is unbound and lies down on a heap of snares, the deer can get up and wander off when the hunter comes. Buddha continues the illusion, asking the question about a deer wandering in the forest confidently. Why? Because he is out of the hunter's range. So too, a bhikkhu secluded from sensual pleasures and unwholesome states enters the 1st jhana and is said to have blindfolded Mara, to have become invisible to the evil one. And so the Buddha proceeds to the 2nd jhana, describes it in the same way, becoming visible to the evil one, to the 3rd jhana, 4th jhana onward, until the bhikkhu enters upon and abides in cessation of perception and feeling. Now his taints or bad influences are destroyed by his seeing with wisdom. This bhikkhu has ceased beyond attachment. Has crossed beyond attachment to the world. Like the deer, he walks confidently, stands confidently, because he is out of the evil one's range. And so ends Majjhima number 26. Thanks for watching.